Alligators seem to be showing up in unexpected places after all the rain in our area. We've got Chris Stevens, owner of the Gator Squad, live with me. Chris, good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. What is it about the rain and the storms that seem to cause alligators to want to move?
Well, it causes rivers and streams that they're in to get moving really fast because there's extra floodwaters. And alligators are ectothermic, or commonly called cold-blooded animals, and they're not long-distance athletes. So they're not going to stay in those rushing floodwaters. They're going to seek higher ground and wait the floodwaters out, essentially.
Okay, so that's why you see them, especially if you're in Fulshire, I might add, because it seems like Fulshire is where all the alligators are lately. I always see them popping up there at people's homes. Okay, I always think of April to June, as the mating season, and that's when I think, okay, I have to be on the lookout during those months. But in Texas, can you see an alligator really any month of the year?
You can. I've seen them into the wintertime in December. Anytime that the daily temperature comes up to, 70, 80 degrees and the sunshine is out, even to the wintertime, it's a good chance to see an alligator in those areas. They're only going to feed in the times that you mentioned. They're only going to feed once their body warms up, and that's usually in, March time frame, and they'll usually stop feeding until the first cold front sometime in October, November here in Texas, and their activity decreases quite a bit then. And you also see them really active this time of year because the mamas are pushing last year's babies out. They let them stay for a year, and then they push those babies out whenever they have new eggs. So that's all happening now because those new eggs those nests, will be hatching right around now. July and August is when the new babies are born. So mama's pushing out the old babies and pushing out the daddies so nobody eats her new babies.
I see. Interesting. So in Texas, we have to sort of assume that any fresh body of water could have a gator in it. But what are some of the more unusual places that, maybe you've gotten a call on lately and you've seen them show up at?
Well, they show up everywhere. I get calls from Dallas quite often doing some education efforts with the folks up there because they're starting to see them more on a regular basis like the neighborhoods here. And it's because their habitat continues to expand. Anytime we add a neighborhood, especially in South Texas, you have to build ponds to hold rainwater. And those ponds have ditches and canals that connect to the river that all connects to alligator habitat. So whenever you build a neighborhood, you may dislodge a bunch of wildlife, but you add habitat for alligators. And Cross Creek Ranch and Sienna Plantation are two such neighborhoods that just have a healthy infrastructure set up as such that those are good places for alligators because the alligators eat the pests, not the people. 200 years, alligators only killed 2 people in 200 years in Texas. Phenomenal record. Yeah, it is. More people have been killed by dogs and probably deer and all kind of other things.
Wow.
Alligators just are too smart to mess with us if you leave them alone.
Right. Let me ask you before we go, there's this TikTok video of a woman who was kicking a gator and trying to move it. This was in Louisiana, I believe. What's your reaction to this? I mean, what should a person do if they come into contact with a gator?
Wow, that was my reaction. Wow, she's going to lose a toe. I'm just thinking the whole time. If you come into contact with an alligator, if you have the ability to stay in your vehicle, stay in your vehicle. There's no reason to get out. The alligators was in the road. At some point, it's going to move on. They should have probably, in that scenario, just tried to go around the alligator. I mean, I sensed that they were trying to get it off the road, maybe, but you shouldn't do it if you don't have the experience. I mean, that'd be like me going up and trying to poke a tiger. I wouldn't do that because I know nothing about tigers and somebody, so I don't mess with things that I don't know. And wild animals, they can at any time freak out. So just stay away from animals that you'll not have understanding for.
Chris Stevens, owner of the Gator Squad, thanks so much for coming on and talking to us about the Gators this morning. Appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.